Hi, everyone. I am Stephanie Dreyer, a plant-based meal planning expert and the founder of stephaniedreyer.com, where I help busy parents bring more ease to their meal preps and mealtime, or meal prep and meal times. Today, we are talking about meal planning on vacation. And vacation is fresh in my mind because I just got back from a trip last week from Hawaii, and I have a few other trips coming up with the fam over the next couple weeks, ringing out the rest of summer with a bang. And I wanted to talk about this topic because with a family, having a little bit of structure, if you've followed me, you know that I am a planning queen, or I love to plan, I guess I should say. And when it comes to meal planning, especially, I've got to have a plan. I do my meal plan every Thursday. I shop on Fridays, and then I prep on Sundays for the week so that I'm all prepped and ready to go for my family of 5. When I go on vacation, I of course, I'm a little bit more relaxed. And I might not have an exact plan depending on what the trip is, like an exact meal plan. This is what I put together every week is my meal plan. I might not do one of these depending on the type of trip we're doing, but I have some structure and order together before I go. So I want to talk about all of that because it does, especially with a family of 5, a lot of our trips are in timeshares, and we're prepping breakfast and lunch most days because it's kind of impossible to eat out unless you've got a bank account that is never ending, which most of us don't. We've got a budget to stick to. So prepping breakfast and lunch eating it inside the hotel or at a timeshare can save some money, and that's what my family tends to do. We also take a lot of trips at timeshares because there's 5 of us, so that also helps us to kind of plan. So I definitely, when we eat at timeshares or Airbnbs, I actually do put something like this together so I have an idea of what we're going to be eating for at least for breakfast and lunch. So I'm going to talk through what we're going to go through a few things like that. And I also wanted to talk, before I get into the specifics of what I do when I'm on vacation, I want to talk about what I do before I go on vacation. So do any of you, when you go on vacation, like do something to pay yourself forward when you come back? So for me, that is, I always make my bed. I always wash the sheets and towels before I leave. And so when I come back, my bed is nice, my towels are all clean, and it's just, I come back to feeling like everything's nice and ready for me. That's just something I pay myself forward with. Future Stephanie, I say, okay, I'm giving future Stephanie a gift. So this is, when it comes to meal planning, I do something similar. I always do my meal plan and my grocery list for the week that I'm coming back before I leave. So that way, when I come home on that first day back, I already have my meal plan ready for me for that week, that first week we're back, and I already have the shopping list done. So I can literally hit the ground running the next day when I get home, get the fridge stocked up again, because there's nothing sadder or more frustrating than hungry kids and family and and then having to think while you're in your vacation bliss, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to cook? And you get back into that grind. So that's one thing I highly recommend doing is when you're doing, before you do your packing and all of that, prep yourself up for success for when you get back from your trip, and you'll just hang on to that bliss a little longer. Okay, so now back to what I actually do for my trips. So the first thing I do when I get ready for a trip is make a pack list. I think a lot of us do that with a family of 5. That's kind of a must do, or you will forget things and your kids won't know what to pack, and you won't know if they've packed what they need. So when I'm doing that packing list, I also include on there a shopping list section, so that when we get into town, like I mentioned, a lot of the places that we stay are Airbnbs or timeshares that have kitchens or some kind of, maybe not a full kitchen, but a kitchenette where we can prep our breakfasts and lunches, again, to be budget friendly. And also, our family gets up at different times depending on the time zone. So it's nice to have a few things in the room that people can fix for themselves and gives me a little break from having to do the regular meal planning, or meal prep, I should say, that I normally do. So it's having a few staples, whether I know for my kids, it's vacation cereal. They don't get the sugary cereals during the regular year. So when we're away on vacation, that's something they look forward to. It might be special snacks, whatever it might be. I make a list, a shopping list of those things, and I have that ready to go so that when we get to our destination, that's like one of our stops on the way to the hotel, or we unload our usually it's on one of our stops on the way to the hotel, because once I'm settled, I don't want to have to think about it again. Just get it out of the way. So some of the things that like I mentioned, that I include are snacks. We do like, and that's another thing too. On my pack list, I will include, so separate from the shopping list, I will have a pack list, and I will include a little section for sundries and snacks. And I always pack snacks for the plane. And then I usually pack a few things for when we land and are like kind of on the way, and for getting the rental car, getting the luggage, because that's when the kids start to get hungry and grumpy. So I'll pick up, like, if it's a bagged popcorn or veggie sticks or something like that, that travel easily and well. And that goes in one of my carry-ons so that I have it easy and accessible. And then I also pack some snacks for the plane. And I have some examples of that on my Instagram that you can check out, and I'll also include some in the blog that I'm going to follow up with this video, so you can see some of the things that my family likes to eat. Things like, trail mix. You can make your own homemade trail mix, nuts, dried fruit, healthy things that will keep them geared up. Instead of, if it was up to them, they would literally pack Oreos and Pringles. So I try to keep it a little healthier. So those are two things that I do before I'm, as part of my planning prep for my vacation, is making that shopping list, and then on my pack list is including some of those snacks and like sundries, like I said, the staples. Oh, and then some of the staples I include are things that I know that I will want, but might be hard to find. So I usually do my research before any place I go to. I research restaurants, I research store, like health food stores, in case they don't have a Whole Foods nearby, where I can get things like green juice, where I can get nutritional yeast is a big one for me, because my husband makes the best popcorn in the whole world, and that's something we usually snack on with the kids. So if we're making homemade popcorn in the room or the timeshare, I bring a little bit of nutritional yeast, so I know I can get that. So little things like that I know that I can't get anywhere else. And that's like when you're packing your vitamins and things like that. That's kind of the section of my pack list that I include all this stuff on. So, okay, that's 3 things that I do. The 4th thing that I do is, and I started to allude to this, is I keep a list of restaurants, a running list. So my family travels. We've traveled to Hawaii every year since I got married, and since I've had children. So that's a trip that is pretty easy for me to keep a running list for. We have 2 islands that we trade between. It's either Maui or Kauai, and I keep that updated so that when we get into town, I have an idea of what restaurants are available and what we can do. And so I mentioned that I keep a meal plan for when we're at a timeshare or Airbnb. Of course, it's flexible. It's not like it's set in stone, but it gives me an idea of options for the kids. I write in, like you can see, I have, a bunch of options here: bagel, cereal, smoothies for the kids to eat. So they know that, okay, this is what you have to choose from. And then I also do that for lunches. And that way I have an idea too of like how many lunches we need to shop for in the hotel. Like we usually have an itinerary, obviously, when you travel, as most people have an itinerary of activities they're going to do. So you'll have an idea of how many days you're going to be around for lunch, and then how many days you're going to be eating out. And of course, this is flexible, and it's not meant to I know my husband probably gets all frustrated. He likes to be more spontaneous. But having a little bit of structure for me, since I'm the one responsible usually for all of the meal prep and meal planning, it takes the pressure of me having, when he asks me, what do you want to do for lunch today? I can kind of say, well, we've got this and this and this and whatever. When it comes to the restaurants, also. So that is, we usually do prep make reservations for a few in advance and do the rest when we get there, depending on the destination. So this running list of restaurants is really, really helpful. I do it in Google Docs, and I just kind of look through it every year when I go, and I update it as I'm through the year, as I see maybe I'm reading something or get a recommendation from a friend. I just add it to the list. So that's something you can really easily do before your trip, and print it out and bring it with you, and just kind of add to it if it's a destination that you go to often. Okay, so what else? So I talked about when I stay at timeshares. So I wanted to talk about like kind of ideas for that. So one thing that I do every year is I take a family trip with my side of the family, my parents, and we always stay in an Airbnb. So it's a full house with a full kitchen, and there's a bunch of us. It's not just me and my family, it's my sister and her husband, and sometimes my uncles come and my aunt, so it can get, you know, bigger. So we try, nobody wants to cook usually, well, except for the girls. Sometimes we want to grill, but nobody really wants to cook, right? We usually have one big breakfast day that everyone likes to do, but otherwise it's pretty chill, it's pretty relaxed. No one really wants to cook. We get there, we do our shopping right away, get it out of the way, and then we're on to vacation. So what we do ahead of time with my family is we talk about what types of foods we want to have. And what we do is we plan theme nights. And this, I've talked about this before in general for meal plans. It's really an easy way to answer the question of what should I make this week for dinner? But this is a great tool for your vacation planning, is to come up with a few theme nights. So pasta or pizza night is a huge one, where we do DIY pizzas or DIY pasta bar, and we have a couple different pastas and sauces and mix-ins, and people can do what they want. And then, of course, DIY pizza, we buy store-bought pizza dough, and then we do different toppings, and it's super simple. So those are two that I highly recommend. And then another one that we do is usually a grill night. So because it's summer, we usually, wherever we go, usually has a nice outdoor grill, and we do either burgers or some kind of grill menu, and we have that mapped out. And then the rest of the time, most of the time, we'll bring in, or we might have one night out. But you can see, as if you lay that in and kind of have that set, you can make your grocery list ahead of time. So then when you get to your destination, all you do is you go to the store, get what you need, and you're done. And then you can enjoy your trip. And that includes breakfast and snacks. My family eats chips and salsa like it's going out of style, and guacamole, so we make sure to stock up on those types of things. And we just kind of have, we have to talk it out ahead of time, whether that's in person, via text, or an email chain, just to kind of get on the same page with everybody wants. And this has been refined over many, many years. We used to just get down there and figure it out, and now we know better. We plan ahead, and that is the name of the game. Plan ahead so you can enjoy your vacation. Let's see, what else? I told you about pizza night, grill night. Oh, and then another thing for lunches, like what's really easy is to do cold cuts and set out things, set out a cold cut bar for lunches, and people can make their sandwiches as they want as they're coming in. For us, we're in the pool most of the day, so in and out of the pool. And I want to give a shout out to Herbivorous Butcher. I usually, because my oldest daughter and she's vegetarian, I'm vegan, so we usually splurge and order some plant-based meats from them, and cheeses. Amazing, amazing, amazing. You can also get some great selections at Whole Foods and Lazy Acres or Chew by Me that have field roast and tofurkey, also have great options. But if you want something a little bit gourmet, Herbivorous Butcher ships from Minneapolis, and they're delicious. So that's something that we do for lunch. And breakfast, we do the types of things. We have, like I said, one day where we go all out. We'll do like tofu scramble. We don't do pancakes actually, or eggs. And we do avocado toast. That's another thing. Avo bar. We'll have a toast bar, and we'll spread that out. And just let people kind of put their stuff together. Again, everyone gets up at different times, but it's nice to just have some staples set out and ready for everybody, so that as people are getting up, they can kind of make what they want as they need, and it's all ready for them. So those are my basic tips. That's what we do, and it works great for my family. I wanted to talk about it a little bit because I know people are like, meal planning on vacation, but I know it's the planner in me. I actually do put some thought into it before I go. And when I get there, I find, for me, being the person that I am as the planner, I don't want to be asked, Mom, what are we eating for this? What are we doing for that? And it's just, it takes the stress off. And then again, I want to reiterate, if you can pay yourself forward and make yourself a plan and a shopping list before you leave, so that when you come back, the first day back, it's very easy to just pick up your papers and head to the store. You will be more relaxed and hang on to your vacation bliss a lot longer, I promise. I see we have a few people, Gail, and I see you. Hi. She's talking about make sure to have lots of wine. We do have lots of wine. And Bloody Marys, of course, with breakfast. You got to pack the alcohol. That's a good thing to do. Make sure you put your libations on your shopping list when you do your grocery list for when you're on vacation. Drop your questions. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Even after the video ends, I always go back and make sure I can give you tips and tricks. I am going to be back next Monday, August 5th, and I'm going to be talking about something I've been getting a lot of questions about, and it's about what to make when your family eats at all different times. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is how important I feel it is to sit down to dinner together as a family. For me, it's dinner because breakfast, and obviously during the school year, lunch, everybody's at school and at work, but for breakfast, it's a little chaotic. So dinner for me is the meal where we sit down, we get to connect at the end of the day, share, whatever. Well, that's obviously not always possible for everybody, especially if you have kids with different activities who are in and out of the house at different times, especially if they're teenagers and they've got all sorts of different activities and sports schedules and stuff. So I wanted to touch on what type of meals I've gotten a few questions like, Stephanie, what do I cook that I don't have to make 2 different meals, or I feel bad that I've made dinner and then it's cold by the time, this one gets home, or whatever it is, or they get home later and then they have to prep something themselves. So I have a few ideas. I have a few suggestions. I'm going to share them with you next Monday, so tune in for that. And if you want to see the full schedule, we have moved, in case you haven't noticed, we've moved the weekly Facebook Lives to Mondays at noon. It's Meal Plan Monday, I'm calling it, and it's where we're going to talk about all topics, meal planning, meal prepping. So if you have suggestions or ideas or have a question for me, like this one I just mentioned I've been getting from people, please send me either direct message me here on Facebook. You can email me at hello@stephaniedreyer.com. You can direct message me on Instagram at Veegmama, VeegMama. And I'm happy I love getting requests. It makes me so happy to be able to answer your questions. So drop me a line and let me know. And if you want to see the full schedule of topics I've got lined up through the rest of September, September. You can do that over here on Facebook as well. I've got my event page set up with all my Facebook Lives, so you can check that out too. Thank you so much for watching, and if you know someone who is going on vacation or would benefit from this video, please feel free to share. I will see you next Monday. Have a great day. Bye.